Evening, everyone. On behalf of all of us at TAGGed, our industry partners, Confederation of Indian Industries, our academia partners, Sunstone Eduversity, and our media partners, The Economic Times, it is my utmost pleasure to welcome you all to Decoding Jobs 2022. I'm Devashish Sharma, President at TAGGed and your host for the evening. TAGGed is India's only digital recruitment platform that provides ready to hire talent. This is our third edition of Decoding Jobs, and the theme of the year is Innovating for a Self-Reliant India, the job story. Decoding Jobs first started in 2019 with an intent to, number one, measure the demand pulse of 7 key non-farm organized sectors annually. Number two, assess shifts in the talent landscape of these sectors. And number three, to bring the voice of talent leaders in front of the entire employment landscape that includes the government, academia, and industry leaders. The year 2021, despite the challenges it brought in, was truly a phenomenal year, especially in the talent acquisition market. In TAGGed itself, we saw a 3 times growth in revenue, grew our customer universe to over 8 sectors with a near 100% CSAT, and hired for over 26 job families across over 300 skills. And we did so by creating industry-leading benchmarks. We hope 2022 will be even more awesome, not just for us, but for businesses across India. In the next 2 hours or so, leaders from across industries will share their views on this exciting India story we all are fortunate to be part of. So, without any further ado, we start with our first and most important segment. I'm delighted to have stalwarts and leaders from across government, industry, and academia joining us in this session. I therefore heartily welcome Mr. Sandeep Chaudhary, Chief Executive Officer, People Strong, Mr. R. Mukundan, Chairman, CII National Committee on Industrial Relations and Managing Director and CEO, Tata Chemicals, Mr. Ved Mani Tiwari, Chief Operating Officer and Officiating CEO, National Skill Development Corporation, Mr. Shogato Roy Chaudhary, Executive Director, CII, and Ms. Bhavana Sri Krishna, Head Skills Development and Livelihood, CII. I thank all of you for gracing us today. Sandeep, may I now request you to open our evening today with your address. Mr. Sandeep Chaudhary, welcome and over to you.
Thank you, Devashish. A very quick, just a hygiene check of the video and the audio. Is that working well?
Yes, Sandeep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is an absolute honor for me to invite you and have this opportunity to deliver this keynote at the Decoding Jobs Annual Conclave by TAGGed in partnership with CII. At the outset, I certainly want to be able to congratulate the team TAGGed and the team at CII for publishing such a rich report. I was telling Devashish, I received my copy yesterday, and I was amazed to see the quality of insights and directional inputs it has literally for everyone, whether you're a private employer or a public employer, a startup, a government watching the entire job and the skilling index extremely closely, the skilling councils that the government has set up around the country, and also for the job seekers. This year, India is celebrating its 75th year of independence, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. As we begin this milestone year, we are back on the growth path that we had set to achieve. Optimism and confidence are ruling the economy as we, the young India, move with all grit and determination to become a self-reliant economy. Keeping this target in mind, we could not have asked for a better year than 2021. As per the economic survey, India is all set to close the financial year 2022 at a 9.2% annual growth rate. It is also well on its way to becoming a $4 trillion economy by the end of this fiscal. Moreover, our Honorable Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat has provided the much needed stimulus to businesses across sectors. It rightly aims to reduce the financial burden of employers and encourages them to hire more. With continued improvements in the rate of investments, renewed focus on manufacturing and exports, prudent fiscal policies, and inclusive employment generation, India at 75, it's rightly marching towards an even more prominent economic superpower. Employment generation is a great yardstick to measure the economic growth, and certainly for a country as large as ours in terms of its size and population. Last year, when we all met around the same time, we saw that the industry was somewhat cautiously optimistic, and we were estimating a growth of approximately 20% in the hiring activity. But the year 2021 truly surprised us. Despite the second wave, and almost towards the last quarter, another scare that we continue to loom in, we were able to witness an increase of 34% in the hiring activity. The sectors that contributed a lion's share to the job market were automotive, banking, financial services, and insurance, global in house captive companies, heavy engineering, manufacturing, internet businesses, information technology, and pharmaceuticals. These were the sectors that led the entire job creation across the country and its economy. While the industries have had several reasons to pat their backs, they've also had to manage many roadblocks, many challenges. The ongoing tech talent crunch, the palpable skill gap that we are looking at, the great resignation that is being often debated in most conclaves and conferences. To bridge the skills gap, the India Skills Mission aims to provide 40 crores of young Indians with job relevant training. Large conglomerates too are investing in skill driven programs to match the rising demand for qualified talent. More details about the hiring outlook will be unveiled by Debashish in a few minutes from now. He will be sharing with you the double clicks of the job landscape across key industry sectors. The economic growth projections for FY23 look rather robust, and macroeconomic indicators suggest that India is very well placed to face any global or domestic challenge that could create a bit of a threat of any kind. This will mean that the hiring activity will remain robust and employment generation will continue to great momentum. We, the stakeholders of the job ecosystem at TAG, at People Strong, should ensure that the opportunity is maximized to improve the potential growth. It is phenomenal to see the way our industries have performed. We certainly hope that the euphoria of the jobs continues. As I said earlier in my keynote, with the size of our population, we as a country have to generate approximately 10 million plus jobs annually to create meaningful livelihood. With that, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of the conclave. Thank you so much for taking out the precious time this evening. And I hand it back to Debashish, who is really the chief evangelist for this amazing property, Decoding Jobs.
Thank you so much, Sandeep, for your insights and amen to India's growth story. Now, before I welcome our guest speakers and they unveil the Decoding Jobs 2022 India report, here are a few highlights from the report for your view. The Decoding Jobs India report is a comprehensive and holistic outlook of the job landscape of major industries in India. These are India's first sectoral reports that include in-depth insights on hiring intent and trends for the upcoming year vis-a-vis the past year. 2022 marks the third edition of Decoding Jobs. It is our flagship initiative that we bring to you in association with our industry partners, the CII National Committee of Skills Development and Livelihood, and our academia partner, Sunstone Eduversity, India's first higher education provider to take complete accountability of a student's career through their pay after placement programs. With the unparalleled support of our two partners, we have executed an extensive exercise in the last 4 months and reached out to over 200 enterprises through focused roundtables and a primary survey. The inputs gathered from these over 200 organizations employing over 5 lakh people across 7 selected sectors form the Decoding Jobs 2022 India report. These 7 sectors are automotive, BFSI, GIC, heavy engineering and manufacturing, internet businesses, information technology, and pharmaceuticals. And here is what we found. We saw a 34% growth in hiring in 2021 over 2020, and we expect a robust trend in 2022 as well. Nearly 70% of employers across key sectors have expressed a positive hiring intent, amounting to a 31% growth in 2022 over what we saw last year. As per our findings, while manufacturing, IT, internet businesses, and pharmaceuticals emerged as top employers for 2021, automotive, IT, and internet businesses are expected to drive the hiring activity in 2022. In terms of experience, we anticipate a greater demand for early career professionals in 2022 as compared to mid-management professionals who were in maximum demand in 2021. This can be because more organizations are leaning towards the hire and train model to upskill the young demography in India to suit business needs. Moving on to the hiring outlook by location, the trend to hire from non-tier 1 locations continues as organizations continue exploring ways to expand their talent pool to access talent available in these non-tier 1 location cities. While most of India continues to work remotely, the industry expects that 1/4 of the workforce, approximately, will continue working remotely, while around 3/4 will work in a hybrid setup in the coming year. Permanent employees make up most of the hiring pie, but we see at least 1/5 of the workforce operating through contractual or gig models. To conclude, we hope to witness a robust, action-packed year in 2022, and my friends from the industry concur, and this next AV will tell you what they have to say. Can we display the AV, please? So, friends, in the last 5 minutes, I have barely scathed the surface of the findings that were uncovered in the Decoding Jobs 2022 India report. The rest of the evening will touch upon various insights that have emerged. And now, may I invite Mr. R. Mukundan, Chairman, CII National Committee on Industrial Relations, and Managing Director and CEO, Tata Chemicals, to kindly deliver the welcome address. Mr. Mukundan, sir, welcome and over to you.
Thank you, Devashish. Thank you for inviting me, and really delighted to be here at this conference on behalf of CII and our partner tagged Sunstone Eduversity, which you alluded to. I would like to welcome everyone to this conclave, which is themed rightly, as you said, innovating for self-reliant India. Uh, Really delighted with the opening remarks which Sandeep has delivered. People strong, we work with them, and also delighted that Mr. Ved Mani Tiwari is with us, as well as Bhavna Chopra and my colleague Saugata here. Uh, Indeed, I think one of the key elements of jobs market is going to be skills, and we are privileged to have the CEO of NSDC with us, and he has, under his stewardship, done a very focused approach to ensure India youth gains industry-ready skills. And under his leadership, we are confident that the NSDC will continue to play a very catalyzing role in skills development ecosystem, especially as we translate, as we move from broadly 3 trillion to 5 trillion economy in the next 2.5 years. And the path to self-reliant India has to be, I think, supported by a skilled workforce to meet the demands of Industry 4.0. And I'm going to speak a bit about that. The government's emphasis on strengthening skilling ecosystem, building on vocational technical training, skill upgradation, building new skills is very important and commendable. And I just want to acknowledge on behalf of the industry that we will work hand in hand to enable youth of India to have job ready skills to earn a future ready livelihood and be a productive talent. As we stand on 75 years of independence, there is greater need to increase and impart a very high quality skilling, and also increase the generation of high quality jobs to cater to the growing workforce and match it with the rising aspirations of our youth. So I sincerely believe, as CII believes, digitization and Industry 4.0 can drive this high growth industries, attract investments, become hubs for both domestic and international market. For India to truly achieve its potential, we need to capitalize and harness the vast talent pool, and it will be only possible if we are able to offer future ready opportunities for growth for our young workforce. Along with the cadre of demand-ready skilled talent, there is also need to understand employment and employability landscape by decoding trends that influence the demand of qualified talent in the country. And really, that's what this report has done. I've been through it. Glimpses of that were shared by CII, and I'm sure the deliberations will add further richness to that whole report as we look into deep dive into it. This is indeed a pioneering effort to provide in-depth analysis in fast-changing employment landscape in several key sectors, and also shed light on upcoming trends in jobs, skills, best practices, and key asks of jobs ecosystem as we move forward. While it has focused on seven different sectors already highlighted, I think there are also learnings for the sectors which have not been featured here. So we should all dwell deeper into it and pick up the key trends and threads, because the common trends and threads are always same across the sectors, even though they may be amplified in few and attenuated in others. This report, indeed, I must confess, brings a cohesive understanding of talent demand across sectors, also links it to the macroeconomic factors which influence industry growth, and clearly highlights to employers what to expect, and to employees what is expected of them to grow to supplement these opportunities. We hope that these deep dives of each of the seven sector further adds and supports the government's initiative to help us track the pulse of employment in key sectors. In addition to that, I would like to add that every year CII brings out India Skills Report in partnership with Wheelbox, AICT, and Association of Indian Universities (UNDP), along with TAGT and Sunstone Eduversity. I want to thank all these partners for helping us with that report too. I sincerely believe today's conclave forms a stepping stone towards convergence of key players and is a significant step towards dialogue with all stakeholders in the jobs ecosystem. I once again welcome everyone and look forward to discussions and deliberations towards creating more outcome driven job ecosystem. Thank you, and back to you, Devashish.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mukundan. That was a very, very warm, insightful address. May I now request you, Mr. Mukundan, Mr. Ved Mani Tiwari, who's joined us, Mr. Sandeep Chaudhary, Mr. Shogata Roy Chaudhary, and Ms. Bhavna Sri Krishna to unveil the Decoding Jobs 2020 India report. I think if we all have our copies, if we all can just together on the count of three, one, two, and three. And there we go. Here we go. And this is the Decoding Jobs 2022 India report that is now live and will be available for the entire community across government, academia, and industry to go through and gather the insights through. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I thank all our stalwart leaders for the unveiling. I also profusely thank our partners, CII and Sunstone Eduversity, for their immense contribution in getting this report together. Thank you so much. Now, may I please request Mr. Ved Mani Tiwari, Chief Operating Officer and officiating CEO, National Skill Development Corporation, to kindly deliver the keynote address. And sir, I think we want, I've been seeing a lot of the messages coming through to me over chat. People would want to hear about in Desh Stack. I mean, you've been very pivotal behind that. If you can just touch upon that, that will be amazing. Over to you, Mr. Tiwari, sir, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Devashish, and very warm good evening to uh, everyone present here, especially Mr. Sandeep Chaudhary, Mr. Mukundan, who shared his thoughts. I would also like to thank Mr. Sanjay Kirloskar, Chairman CII National Committee on Skill Development and Livelihood, and Chairman and Managing Director Kirloskar Brothers for inviting me to deliver this keynote address and unveil the Decoding Jobs Industry Sectoral Reports at this inaugural session of Decoding Jobs 2022 Annual Conclave. I thank Bhavna and Swagata to reach out to me and to give me this opportunity to connect with all of you. And as you touched upon Desh Stack, it's a moment of pride for all of us because we have been working on this for quite some time, and it was equally heartening to hear that all of you understand that how powerful this is. So before coming to Desh, I first of all I was very delighted to see this report because over last 2 years we have seen some very interesting. We all have gone through some very interesting quarters. The life is changing so fast in the world of work, in the world of education, that sometimes we feel that there is a crisis and sometimes we feel there is a huge opportunity. And this phenomenon is there not only in India but across the globe. The global markets are struggling with the inflation that is coming up because of the huge demand that is coming forward. The kind of monetary interventions that we saw the central banks did all over the world, post that we saw tremendous amount of fiscal interventions that governments do across the world. And the other thing that we are seeing is massive infrastructure build happening all over the world. Whether we call about border road initiative or Europe is coming out with a large infrastructure program. US is up after 50 years is talking about a massive infrastructure build. So on one hand, infrastructure is being built big time. On the other hand, we have seen that digital is acquiring the dimension that nobody ever thought. We hear people talking about metaverse. On one hand, we are building hard infrastructure the way we would have never built even immediately after the World War II. We are building hard infrastructure at that scale. On the other hand, digitalization is penetrating our lives in such a way that we keep hearing a lot of interesting things, the real estate going up in metaverse and things like that. So for anybody, these last 2 years have been humongous. And India also has done some really great stuff during this period. I'll start with the National Education Policy 2020. which has very decisively brought skills into the heart of education. And if you see what finance minister talked about in her speech 2 days ago, she talked about uh, the skills being continuous and sustainable. So there is a recognition, there is a huge push that skills are not about those who have fallen out of education domain. We all learn new skill every single day. We consume YouTube, we consume, and that's a one powerful narrative that I'm seeing, that skills are not for just people who are not able to cope with education, but it's a every person in the country skills. With this thought, the other thing that we have noticed is that people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, PLFS report says that the those who are at the bottom of the pyramid have been hit hardest by the COVID wave. Whereas in software sector, people have 3 job letters in their hand, and everybody is demanding 30-40% hike every 6 months. These are the dichotomies because of the structural problems in our system. That, and when we try to uh, decipher what is the structural problem that we are seeing, we realize that the first problem that we are all are seeing is trust. And when we talk about trust, how do we believe that the course which is being offered, the institution which promises to offer a course on education or skilling, or the professionals who want to provide these things, how do we trust them? And then the question of the discovery emerged, that even if there are the best courses, even if there are jobs available in the market, how do we discover, how do we get the right match? And then the whole question of how do we finance them, how do we bring capital, debt capital, grant, equity into the skilling and education domain. And from there, these insights emerged that India has done a wonderful job on digital governance. We have a very good infrastructure on India Stack, which provides a lot of foundational grounds to build the digital electronically verifiable registries. And COVID certificate showed us a way that you can have verified credentials. So one of the foundation, and when finance minister was talking, actually she talked about these things: trust, discovery, and payment. So trust is all about using the digital architecture that India Stack has built. On financing side, India has truly demonstrated to the world the UPI, the whole UPI experience, and the e-rupee and the central bank digital currency, which finance minister talked about 2 days ago. They are providing tremendous opportunity. Even in NSDC over last few months, we could attract impact capital into skilling space. We could attract good CSR capital into the skilling space. So there is if we have a UPI architecture, we can actually enable every single institution and individual to fund skilling. Somebody who wants to fund even skilling of one child or one person in their household, the UPI will enable us to provide those opportunities. And the whole ONDC and edifice that is what we are using for discovery. Now, once we bring the power of all these together, we will help this will help the job providers to have a quick electronically verifiable means of credential checking the credentials of the people who are seeking job. And we are bringing in that edifice of electronic certification, and we are tying up with DigiLocker. We are connecting, and we are also using some of the data job that this government has done phenomenally well. You might have heard in the finance minister spoke about eShram and Asim and e-migrate portals integration. There's a tremendous property, digital property sitting around, and NSDC is at the core of this. What we are doing is that we are working with Labor Ministry on one hand, we are working with Education Ministry, both higher education and school education. We are working with MSME, Ministry of External Affairs. We are bringing all these data together. And that means that 40 crore individuals who are in the informal workforce, through eShram portal, they get connected for to skilling world, to education world. 25 crore children who are in school education, 5 crore children are in higher education, and 10 crore individuals who are in the formal workforce. We are connecting with EPFO and ESIC database. Now, what it is enabling us, we are also working with Indira Gandhi National Open University and many digital skill providers. We have recently signed up with Hero Wired for digital skill programs, and through this medium I would like to invite all others who believe that digital time for digital education, digital skilling has to come and join us. We are building finance minister talked about virtual university. We are building those platforms where we can provide digital opportunities. So once we now you can imagine the power of this. The Desh is a set of open protocols and specification. What Aadhaar did for identity of an individual, what UPI did for financial inclusion of the individual, the Desh is going to do for the skill and education for individual. I say, if you look at the accounts aggregator world, what they are trying to do, they are trying to, and many of the fintechs working with them, they are trying to build every single individual credit worthy by tracking their cash flows. So I say that UPI gives you a cash flow statement, Desh gives you a balance sheet, because you can what is our assets, all every all esteemed leaders who are on this call, more than 300 people. The only asset that we have built over last few years is the knowledge, the education, the skills that we acquired over these are our balance sheets. And Desh is allowing us the opportunity, and I would use this forum. I'm very passionate about this. I want to use this forum to connect with all industry leaders, that please connect with us. The government's narrative is that skills are for all, and skills are for every individual at every stage of their lives. The apprenticeship is a is a great opportunity. We are working with government. We have a target of 1 million apprenticeship this year alone. And believe me, there is a scheme of the government, NAP scheme, where a part of this apprenticeship is reimbursed by the government. The government has also provided avenues that if you hire apprentices more than 2.5%, 2.5% to 15%, they can be counted towards as a CSR spend. Now imagine that if we use these opportunities, and the education system, we are now coming with many apprenticeship embedded degrees. That means the world of education, skill, and work, these three worlds are coming together. And as industry leaders and the HR leaders sitting here, it's my humble request that please reach out to us. We want to work with you to connect individuals with the opportunities which will help them. We are building counseling and mentoring platforms also, that how do we help individuals once they see an opportunity, to what skill gaps they have and how do they skill themselves up. These are the kind of things that they should be able to do. I know that I have taken more time than what was allocated to me. Uh, Please pardon me for that, and I would not like to come in between for whatever is remaining in the program. But one fervent appeal, that we want to work with industry for children of our country, who are the future of this country, for work, for professionals in formal and formal workforces who need to be reskilled and upskilled, so that they become relevant to you. You tell us what do you want. And also your corporate talent need. We all come together, and corporate skilling can also become an objective for Skill India. Those are the kind of things that we believe the opportunity exists, and together we can change the world. We can change the destiny of every single Indian. I'm happy. I'm ready to run around. I just send me a message. I would be at your door to understand that how Skill India and NSDC, and believe me, the government is behind us. We can bring the government's intent, government's force behind this. Everybody is serious. The Prime Minister is very serious. uh, the the opportunity today, the whole day I spent a lot of time with my partners who do overseas placements. There's massive opportunity emerging in Europe, in other parts of the world. I'm very excited that jobs and education and skill, they are coming together like anything. Another good thing that I, before I forget, I want to tell, the regulators of education and skill have come together. Our honorable Prime Minister did a wonderful job that now the education and skill under our one honorable Minister, our Dharmendra Pradhan ji, and he's very passionate about it. All the education and skill ministry, we are all working together. UGC, AICT, and NCVT, they have all come together to build an academic credit framework where the credits are transferable. So even the working professionals, this through regional skilling method, even the work you will have a credit now. Now every professional has an opportunity to count the hours of work if it has got some connection with skill or education. These are all becoming transferable, and that is why I say that the opportunity is humongous. And these are very interesting times. We will not succeed if the industry is not coming into this. And once again, request to you, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Uh, Mr. Tiwari, I've never ever given out a heart emoji to anyone. You're the first person I've given out a heart emoji to. So thank you so much, Mr. Tiwari, for your very invaluable insights. And I was just making notes. The national education policy, how does it translate to India stack, trust, discovery, payment, going on to digital ecosystem for skilling and livelihood, which is Desh Stack, which links skilling, education, and jobs at a click of a button. Thank you again, Mr. Tiwari. Very, very enlightening. And I'm sure, I think if we are all able to do this together, it's going to be just so fantastic for our country. I want to thank Mr. Sandeep Chaudhary, Mr. Mukundan, Mr. Shugata Roy Chaudhary, and my dear friend Bhavna Sri Krishna. It's her daughter's birthday today, but she's been working relentlessly behind the scenes. So thank you again to all of you. I'm sure that with the government, the academia, and the industry coming together, we will build definitively and surely a self-reliant Atmanirbhar Bharat that our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and his countrymen are dreaming of for our nation. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And with this, we come to the close of this first session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now, my friends, in our next most intriguing session, you views of leading businesses and talent leaders. And for that, we have our very own Mr. Pankaj Bansal, co-founder and group CEO, People Strong, who, along with our esteemed panel of leaders, will talk about plus 10 million, the job story for a self-reliant India. I welcome Mr. Pankaj Bansal, and it might take about 30 seconds to 1 minute for the next session to start. Of course, we will log out of this session. So Pankaj, over to you. And we are really very keenly looking forward to this next session. Thank you so much. Thank you so